This is where it would be appropriate to reassign interstate highways. So, Interstate 287 is one. It's a partial beltway around New York City, but in my opinion, it's supposed to be in this New Jersey New York highway. It's supposed to be one of Interstate 95. It connects to 95 twice, and has a concurrency with 87. Very rarely do you see auxiliaries have concurrency with their interstates. They do happen quite often. The concurrency of Interstate 384 and 380 and 84. In northeastern Pennsylvania, the concurrency of Interstate 695 and 83 at Timonia, Maryland, the concurrency of Interstate 294 and 80 in the Chicago metro area. They do happen, but they're not common, is what I'm trying to get at. Interstate 495 is another partial beltway. This one is around Boston, Massachusetts. It's also a western bypass of Interstate 95. Now, I think that should have been extended to Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Like 287 should have been extended to Connecticut, but we can't control that. It gets very close to both states, as 287 does to Connecticut. Rhode Island and New Hampshire. So only Massachusetts is out of that way of Boston. Now 287 is only 100 miles. This is 120 miles. So 92 in Boston, 95 in Boston is 92 miles. That's why I got them confused. But Boston, but it doesn't go into Boston. It goes around it. That's partially why it's so long in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is actually a weird highway the further east you get. But it's actually good that's 95. It's both Interstates 90, the Legend, and 93, and in the city of Boston. Well, 93 doesn't end in the city of Boston, but it only connects to Interstate 495 once, as it's a beltway. And having Interstate 695 in Maryland is good too, because 70 and 83 both end at Baltimore, Maryland. So it's the only interstate to make it out alive on both sides. Now, as for the Capital Beltway, even though 95 doesn't go into D.C., it was planned to, and it has a concurrency with 495, but it shouldn't be an auxiliary of Interstate 66. Because 66 doesn't actually even make it out. Now, you're probably wondering, Andrew, are there any more examples of spurs that you think are inaccurate? Of course. Interstate 595 is actually accurate. It's a spur out to Annapolis, Maryland. But Interstate 270 is also a spur. And 370 is actually less of one, as it's so short. But Interstate 270 is a spur to not quite D.C., but close to D.C., to Interstate 495. Even though it's supposed to be a bypass of Interstate 70, that would only apply if Interstate 70 would also connect to 495. Another example of why I feel that it's wrong is Interstate 476. First of all, it shouldn't even be an auxiliary of Interstate 76. It should be a spur and of Interstate 95 or 81, as it ends there on both sides. But having it be a spur of 76 is inaccurate. A bypass or beltway. Maybe a spur would be accurate. And Interstate 295 is the beltway around, is a partial beltway around Philadelphia. It's around 92 miles. It was never meant to be one. It just got extended in 2018. It was never meant to be one, and it doesn't go into Maryland. It's not really that close to Maryland. But it's supposed to go, but it is a bypass of 95, so that's a good thing about it. It is a bypass of 95.